We've dialed up a holy episode of The Brew. That's right, we're talking about religion tonight. Jersey Joe here. And look, we don't have one guest, but two in the box over there. Joel, is that the boy Nick Dodger with you?
The boy Nick Dodger right here in the flesh.
I dodge like I live in a lodge. What it is, man. How are you, buddy? Long time no see.
Yeah, you got it. Long time no see. Glad you're back on The Brew. And you're here for a great night because we're here to talk about religion. Do you believe in God? What's the best religion? And what are your thoughts on the church? It's a pretty big topic, actually. We've got lots of people to chime in. So I'm going to go to Joel, you and Dodger first. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you believe in God? And what's your thought about religion and the church?
I don't know. I'm a really devout Christian to begin with. But it only happens in like 10-minute windows right before I'm about to fly. And right before I'm about to land. Yep. And then once I've landed, I'm back to sinning. So I'm keeping one toe dipped in the holy water because the power of Christ compels me to do so.
Dodger, what about you?
Religion's complicated, man. I've seen friendships lost because people are just like, come worship with me. And I was just like, ooh, it's not exactly how I want to spend my Sunday. And then that was it. Like, I never heard from them again, man. I mean, I went on a blind date with a girl who was really Christian, and she's just not about it when she found out that I was not as devout as she was. So it's complicated. I like to consider myself agnostic. I'm not sure what's out there. Something is. But I don't like to invest too much time into the church just because I see a lot of relationships get broken because of it, and we're all people, and if somebody wants to practice something, I think we should be okay with that. I mean, we have the freedom to do so in the United States, so I think we should just leave it at that. I mean, I just prefer to be agnostic, but I mean, I'm familiar with like Catholic background, like my parents were the Catholic Church a lot when I was younger, but I never really got into it a whole lot myself.
Same here. Like my family, we were Catholics when I was younger. And long story short, we left the Catholic Church because my parents got divorced, and the priest told my mother that it was a sin that she got divorced. So that literally like tore a rip through the family. So that
man, what a curveball!
I know. It's like he didn't even know what the reason was for their getting divorced. I'm not going to bring that up on here because that's too personal. But it wasn't good, and she was perfectly in her right to go ahead and ditch the guy. And it wasn't this priest's place to like tell her she had to like go repent her sins because she got a divorce.
That's kind of how religion is, though. Like that's what it is. It's telling you how to live your life and policing other people.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, at least. Not everybody does it. I have a lot of respect for the people that worship and just if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Yeah. But a lot of it is, I got bullied when I was a kid, so now that I'm a priest, I'm going to bully other people. It's like the cop thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I actually met a guy in Orlando who was cool and like accidentally showed up to this shindig, and I wasn't under the proper influence to practice religion, but I was there and they were just like, and it was really bad. But point blank, I met up with this guy months later, and then he tried to sell me a timeshare. No. And I'm just like, what kind of religious person tries to sell you a timeshare? It was just really confusing and conflicting.
That's great. I got a story that I'm going to piggyback on that. So a good friend of mine, works at a casino down in Atlantic City. And he's from a church back home. Their family would go every Sunday to church. And they would practice in church, no, gambling's a sin. You can't drink and gambling's a sin. But that same church would take bus trips to Atlantic City to go gamble and drink. So they practiced one thing on Sunday, but then once Sunday was done, it was no holds barred. In fact, it was okay to go gamble now.
That's why they have no credibility.
Yeah.
Simple and plain.
There's a church here. There's a church here in Jersey City that has in fact, it's next week. It's an Italian festival, and you can go there. They close off the street. It's a bazaar. There's awesome food. There's drinking. But in the behind the church, in their lot, they open up a casino. I've gambled and won there. They put a big 6-wheel up there. I mean, you can drink and gamble. The priests and nuns are all out there, having a good time because the church is making the money off of that. So again, you get this special dispensation during this La Fiesta Italiana, is the name of it, that it's okay to go ahead and drink. But then in the Bible it says, well, you can't. So that's where it gets a little confusing. It's a touchy subject. None of us have.
Let's take some viewer comment.
Yeah. It's an awkward pause.
Well, let's have those of you watching us, by the way, appreciate our live viewers. And if you want to chime in and join our conversation, go ahead and hit us up at the bottom of the screen. Let's take a couple of your responses, by the way, because this is a hot topic on social media. Our first response comes from Camille, and she says, best ones are the ones that don't try to get you to join and let women use birth control. So, Unitarian?
So none?
Yeah.
So
Is she living in a dystopia or like, I don't...
Unless you want to call that dystopia LA.
And Rand would be so proud of Camille.
It's Unitarians though. I think, and I'm not totally sure. As a friend of mine is Unitarian, I think you can actually get away with a lot more with their religion. They're kind of loose. You kind of just show up and pray, and that's their deal. I think. And we'll go to Mr. Pizarro says observation.
Oh, that ship has sailed.
Observation. We are all born atheists until geology tells you what's the major religion to follow. Example, born in America or born in the Middle East. While he's talking at the door, we'll go ahead and take another live comment. And this time, Michael chimes in and he says, only in Yankee Stadium am I religious. Thou shalt not disrespect the home team. I'm always praying for a win. I'm just you, Joel. I'm always praying for a Yankees win, aren't you?
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Who was at the door, by the way? Was it Jehovah's Witnesses? Because now would be a great time for them to show up.
I wish. No, I don't wish. I never would wish that.
That's one thing that drives people nuts here in my neighborhood. Well, they do their Saturday visitations, which is fine, but they bang on your door at 9 o'clock in the morning and want to give you pamphlets and then want a donation for the pamphlets. I think that actually does more harm than good for religion here because that just makes people angry and wants to turn people away, which is sad.
They're not cognizant. They don't know that. It never crosses their mind.
No, it doesn't. Let me ask you this, Joel. So when you and I were in Seattle the other week, and you saw it too, Dodger, how about that religious group that was out there preaching in front of Safeco Field and yelling at people, saying how wrong they were and how they were going to sin? These are people going to a baseball game, and yet they're being subjected to, which I kind of think is maybe a little bit of a radical church. What was your thoughts on that?
That's pretty...
Joe, the same people, like the same signs, the exact same signs. I don't know what company makes them, but they're here too. So yeah. I see them regularly.
Yeah. I guess they're probably here too. It's just with the crowds in New York. I just don't pay attention to them as much. I don't know. Let's take another comment though. And Dennis, here comes Dennis, by the way, and he says, if there is a God, it must be a woman. Dennis is here, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think?
Read the Bible?
No.
Those are my thoughts on that. Is that there's a holy document.
I don't know. Dennis says he thinks God's a girl.
I don't even know what is or what isn't, but there's historical documents refer to. You refer to those, buddy.
Nice. Well, let's take some more polls right now because we put this question out on Twitter to find out what you thought. So let's go to our first poll, and it is, do you believe in God? 73% of the people said yes, they do. 18% said no, and 9% said they were undecided. And then I asked, are you religious? And the poll came out 50-50. So what we've learned is people do believe in God, but religion, the numbers are down. It's now 50-50. That would have never happened if this was the 1800s.
The word has kind of evolved, and people don't like being associated with it anymore, obviously, from the poll.
Yeah, it's the whole country is seeing the change on the form of religion. Like, if this was the 1800s, you were raised to get up, you go to Sunday school, you pray, you do your tithe in religion. But now, that is definitely
You're describing the Middle East religions right now.
Yeah.
You just described them like you have to. Like, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You still see the same things in private schools anyways, like Catholic private schools, Christian private schools.
Yeah, there's parts, usually in more like rural areas, that you have to. Like, there's dry counties in PA. You know that. You're from PA.
Dry counties in Florida, man.
There's dry counties all over the place. Yeah. And you know why? It's because the good Lord doesn't want you drinking, especially on his day.
Yeah, that's those blue laws they come into effect, and that's why there's even like shopping centers here in New Jersey that can't open on a Sunday because of religious blue laws. And Chick-fil-A, they're the chicken restaurant, they won't let their workers work on Sunday.
Good though, dude.
It is good. It is very succulent, but they won't let their workers work on Sunday because of said blue laws, which are still connected from the church. Hey, most of our United States and the Constitution, a lot of it is founded on church belief and doctrine. We have one final comment, and it's a really good one. I saved it for last. And Todd wrote in and said, I've come to an understanding. I don't expect anything but give thanks when help arrives. He's talking to the aspect of how the church is a very good place to help people, because I do think in general churches are beneficial. They do, there's definitely a higher power out there. There's definitely, brings people together. There are made for good as opposed to a lot of bad that's out there. And that's what Todd's saying.
Higher power out there. Dang.
But that's what Todd's saying, where he thinks, the church is really a helpful place. Because it is, especially like in a disaster or whatever. They're there for you.
It's because of that high power.
We want to thank our live viewers out there, by the way, for joining us on our, as you can tell, live show tonight. And hey, if you want to click that subscribe button down below or give us a like, let us know what we're doing. And Thursday, don't miss my other web show, Kicking Back with Jersey Joe, because this week I've got damn funny signs. Signs tell you everything, what you can and can't do. Well, I've got some really funny, crazy ones from around the U.S. You'll want to see that Thursday, starting at noon Eastern, on my other web show, Kicking Back with Jersey Joe. And I want to thank you both, by the way, for being here tonight, Dodger and Joel. Peace be with you.
Peace be with you too.
Peace be with it. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy the city.
You got it. See you next time, I hope.